My name is Robyn Vilakazi. I come from the Energy and Water SETA. The EWSETA is a government agency. We're one of 21 SETAs under the Department of Higher Education and Training. And collectively, we're all responsible for the development of a capable workforce to serve various sectors. And for us, the focus is on energy and water. I'm going to stop my video now just for the sake of bandwidth because I saw some challenges earlier on. And then I'll just proceed with the presentation. So the mandate of the SETA really is around ensuring that we've got a capable workforce. And specifically, we look across the sector. We look at energy and water, but for the purposes of this presentation, I'll obviously focus on water, and it's across the entire sort of life cycle of where skills are required. So we look at school level, attracting people into the industry, attracting young people. We look at the training of young people from matric level or even below matric level to enter careers in our industry. And then we also have a focus on continuous professional development, especially with the new technologies that we are seeing in the energy space. And primarily we have two large pillars that we focus our work on, the two main pillars. Being determining the skills demand and then having a strategy and implementing a response to that skills demand. So I'm going to start firstly with determining a skills demand. We have a research unit, and I'm going to only touch on this briefly. But we've got a research department within EWSETA, and SETAs are mandated to conduct a specific piece of research on an annual basis, which is developing a sector skills plan. And this really is work that we undertake with our industry, and our industry currently exists of about just over 3,000 employers that are registered to our industry. And this is our mandatory research that we perform on an annual basis. But as you'll see in my slides, really 19% of the industry that pays levies to our SETA actually participates in skills planning. The quality of what we receive in terms of the articulation of skills needs from the industry, current and future skills needs, although we sit with participants and we workshop it with them and we try to really question and critically interrogate the information that they give us, there are challenges in that space just in terms of the quantity and quality of the input that we receive. So we have a focus also then on, first of all, generating our own research as EWSETA, which would focus on specific trends, specific sectors and subsectors. And also we leverage a lot of external research, and we are spoiled in the energy sector with regards to just the volume of research coming out around skills needs. And one of the earlier speakers alluded to that as well. So I've put up here, just two of the more recent skills needs and skills analysis reports that we, for example, use. I've got them in my office. I refer to them on a almost daily basis. And this is the type of information that we use to inform our skills planning and to inform the work that we then embark on. And my job, my role at EWSETA as skills delivery executive is then to execute on what this research is telling us. And so next, I just want to then move on to the focus areas. Specifically within the energy sector, like I mentioned, we work in energy and water, but specifically for energy, to talk you through a little bit of how we think about and our strategic response to what research is telling us about skills needs. And then also I'll zone in on some of the specific initiatives that we do just to give you an idea of that. So first of all, we locate our energy skills development focus within a context, and our context is both global but more focused nationally, of course, having regard for what's happening in the global space. And we are very much informed by what our research tells us, the way that we synthesize the research around skills needs. We're very much informed by emerging trends, but also the current status quo. And then also the activities. We've got a very robust partnership model that we implement at EWSETA that gives us a lot of access to the information and the information that is available for skills development. We have a big picture of what is happening, and we have a big picture of where things are not happening and they should be. So we locate our work within that context, and with certain issues that have been coming to the fore. I'll touch first on, well, these are some of the issues that perhaps I just wanted to highlight, because these issues are especially in the energy space, what's coming to the fore that is informing where we focus on most critically and most robustly. Of course, the decarbonization journey, which leads us to having to make an energy transition. And in our context, we've decided that our focus will be on a just energy transition, which the Presidential Climate Commission also spoke to earlier on. So that decarbonization journey is one of the things that drives where we are focusing at the moment, but it's not exclusive. It's just a current area of focus to an extent. We also, of course, the focus on renewable energy, given the renewable energy resources that we've got within the country, as well as the needs coming out of our decarbonization journey. And then also, of course, restoring energy security, understanding the very pivotal role that energy plays for us in so many ways, economically and socially. And so this context really informs what we then do in terms of skills development focus areas. I'm going to get into examples of some of these, but SETAs are called upon. I know that often SETAs are seen, and it's even potentially worse if you've had experience with the SETA. SETAs come from a history of, in the first iteration of SETAs, we were called upon to look at what happened during the apartheid regime and give people access to education. And so it very much became, how do we get people into programs and how do we get them out of it with a piece of paper that we call a qualification. And that was the first iteration of SETAs. And I think many of us still sit with that in our mind as what SETAs are meant to do. But actually, if you look at our founding documents, and the National Skills Development Plan of 2030 is one of the main drivers for us. It calls upon us to actually create a capable workforce, which does not just talk to training. So we look at the capacitation of the public, the post-school education and training system. And at a lot of the speakers have spoken about universities, and probably a lot of participants in this webinar are going to come from university and bachelor background. But the reality is that first of all, universities have capacity to only take about 5% of people who ever enter grade 1. So we are not going to achieve a holistic, capable workforce from just looking at it from the perspective of universities. And for that reason, SETA's focus on the TVET space, vocational level. We have a lot of responsibilities in the vocational space, and also increasingly we're looking at how we enable CET colleges, and we are really looking at how do we build a TVET system and a college system that is able to produce skills for our economy in a sustainable manner and going into the future. From an energy perspective, we've identified leadership and ethical leadership as one of the areas. In terms of skills, there's many leadership skills and what we used to call soft skills and competencies that are required to actually have like an energy sector that functions correctly, first of all, but then also becomes a driver for economic development. Leadership is key to that. And so we have started having a real focus on leadership and also addressing gender parity issues in leadership in the energy sector. From a technical skills perspective, this goes without saying. I'm not even going to touch on it. And SETAs also have a mandate in innovation and technology. So understanding that innovation and technology is an element of a capable workforce in that it drives the development of new markets, new technologies, and so on. And so it becomes key to the skills, to how we frame skills development and how we frame a capable workforce. So we have a mandate in that space. Environmental and sustainability expertise, I won't touch on. I don't think the audience would need me to touch on that. And then lastly, SETAs also have a major mandate in the area of policy making and informing policy as it pertains to skills development and to a capable workforce within our industries. One of the examples of the type of work that we do under this area is that EWSETA, for example, was instrumental in the more recent RIB bid windows for informing the development scorecard that then ensures that some of the skills needs are funded through those renewable energy IPP projects. And it's embedded in the scorecard. And through that, there's a levy for ensuring that some of the money, not a levy, excuse me, there's a mechanism for ensuring that some of the money that is made in these projects gets plowed back into communities, specifically for skills development. And these are the types of regulations, policy, and so on that we inform and that we are called upon to inform to ensure that we've got a capable workforce. So with this context, we then get to work. And the first thing that we start off with is identifying qualifications that are required within the sector. And we have a public process, all SETAs have a public process by which qualifications are developed. And these are typically occupational qualifications. Again, they are not at the degree and above level, although we do work in that space. We can inform qualifications, but we are called upon to actually be very key and instrumental in developing qualifications for our industry. So I've put up here some of the more relevant qualifications that we have, or some of them are in the final stages of being developed, to give you an idea of the space that we are working in. There was some, the previous presenter talked about battery storage, about base systems. So for example, you'll see that we've got a qualification in battery energy storage, wind turbine operator, for example. So these are all relevant to the space, quite a few across the solar PV space. We also look at electrical and electronic waste. And then also you'll see hydro right here at the bottom. So this is just to give you an idea of the type of qualifications that we have developed and which we are responsible for quality assuring. At the moment, I've got a list right here on my desk of certificates of learners who've gone through our programs that I need to approve. And that's the role that the SETAs play, is we are the quality assurance partner, making sure that when I affix my signature to these certificates, we are comfortable with the skill and the process that's been followed to impart these skills. I just put one around a fossil power plant over here, just to highlight that our work is aligned with national policies, including the IRP. And this means that we do not focus only on renewable energies, but we focus across all technologies that are in South Africa's energy mix. How we then implement our work after having developed qualifications is we've got teacher capacitation programs and also learner capacitation programs. We focus specifically in rural areas where we capacitate learners and their teachers about careers within our sector. And we also run several STEM initiatives to attract learners into the sectors. And the reason we focus on rural is because that's where we feel a majority of the information gap lies, or where a lot of information can get lost. And then I'm going to just touch on a few of our programs to give you a taste and flavor of the work that we've been doing in the space, especially if we're discussing energy crisis. So Swanelo from CSIR presented to you yesterday, and she alluded to this project. I also had it in my slides already and decided to keep it in any case. And just to give you an idea, we have a portfolio at the moment of probably I would say it's over 200 projects. So honestly, what I'm showing you is just a fraction of that. And it's just to give you an idea of the type of work that we are involved in and the type of initiatives that are being driven by various partners to ensure this capable workforce in the energy sector and a functioning energy industry. In this program, we support 15 SMMEs, and the idea here is really to encourage innovation and the development of local intellectual property. The CSIR gives our participants in this program access to national resources that helps them to develop innovative products that have viable market potential within the energy sector, and CSIR leads that for us. What we as EWSETA then also do is to provide additional support to these participants. For example, at the recent African Energy Indaba, we hosted several of them in an SMME village that was hosted by EWSETA to ensure that they are connected with the broader industry, connected with potential funders and also clients. Speaking to the point about leadership that I raised earlier on, it was something that we identified quite some time ago, and we do a lot of executive development, and we've been seeing the need to do it more and more. A lot of the focus has been on gender disparity. So women who are technically qualified, they are engineers, they've been working in this space but are not reaching levels of leadership. And we've been for several years putting. Right now, we stand at a few hundred women through executive development programs. This one is done at the Wits Business School, but we run across different provinces, across different spaces, industries and sub-industries. And we've had several cohorts here, and our previous speaker was from Eskom, and at the moment we've got a great program running with Eskom, also focusing on executive development for women. We also have a specific program that's management and executive development in the renewable energy space. There's many of these, and it's really looking at the leadership challenges that we see to ensure that in the future, and in the near future, we are led by capable and competent people, and that women are given an equal opportunity to form part of those leadership teams. Looking a bit at what the sort of more traditional SETA work, this is one of our renewable energy programs in Kanana, a rural area, and over here, this is a renewable energy company, an IPP that we work with, working with the TVET College to capacitate them, but then also working with students to train them in the renewable energy space. What's beautiful about this project, you can see the rural space in which it takes place. And at the end of this, each student needs to go and do their rooftop installation at home, at their shack. And on the left there, what you see is some of the students doing that. And then just something to highlight, for example, as an example of what we also do just in terms of providing additional support, the other types of support that we provide and work that we do in the space of innovation. This one is water specific, but I really love the story, and that's why I've highlighted it here. This lady comes out of a hackathon that we ran a couple of years ago around solving problems in the agri and water space. And you can just, if you look at the bottom left, the block over there highlights, what Faith was able to achieve by having participated in an EWSETA program. And these, like I say, I'm giving you a touch and just a taste of the work that we do. I think I've highlighted 4 initiatives over here, and like I explained, we have over 200 of these running with several partners across the country. My purpose really today was to give some context and some information as to what EWSETA is doing within the space. We often get asked about what we are doing in the space. And honestly, this really was just a taste of that. I hope it gives you a good taste. Something that we that we are guided by as EWSETA. I refer to this a lot. It's a quote by our president. It's quite an old quote that out of a speech that he gave a couple of years ago. And what he's talking about here is a skilled nation and a learning nation. And honestly, the work that we do is around capabilities. a capable country and a capable workforce, which is really to say that we ought to, in South Africa, be able to handle our own affairs. We ought to be able to generate enough energy for us to be able to, like in the context that we have at the moment, we need to have proper workforce that ensures that we've got energy that we need just to be able to do the normal things. And the same in the water space. And that's what we are trying to build. So it's not just about training, it's about all of these types of initiatives. And this is the overview and the highlights of some of the work that we do. Thanks very much.